draft season. The Jets fans are getting excited, and for good reason. This is the time of year where we start feeling good, and I think rightfully so. Welcome, everybody, for an exciting episode of GreenBean's Jets Pod, episode number 156, I think it is. 156. I am glad that you're here. This is the most fun I have on a Sunday afternoon when I film and record this thing. It's a good time for me, so I'm glad that you're here. I will ask you before we get started today, don't forget to smash those there milk thumbs. All right, everybody. It's the best thing you can do other than subscribing to the channel. It is so appreciated when you guys do just that. I will also let you know that the Patreon group, the Beanbeggars, is alive and well, thriving, if you will. And you can join that just by clicking the link in the description. I appreciate so sincerely all the support that I get from, honestly, one of the finest collection of Jets fans that I could possibly gather in one collection. I mean, it's the best group of guys and girls sometimes in the world. A few ladies have graced the beanbag with their presence, and that's always nice. But guys, this is going to be a week where we kind of start to settle things down, right? Like, you know, we talk about all these players and we look over here and we make boasts and we have our sleepers and all this kind of stuff, but it's getting near that time where it's time to just pull away from all the hubbub. We have all these ideas, all these conversations, right? And we have the time, the clock ticking toward this draft. And it's like, okay, well, what's real? What's real now? What's really going on? What's not hearsay? What are our needs? What do we need to do? You know, look, the Jets are an interesting, anomalous entity in the NFL. Number one, no matter what, we have this ravenous, passionate fan base. In fact, so ravenous and passionate that national and beat writers from around the league and, you know, channels, writers, rags, whatever, they routinely use us as an inflator for drama, for clicks, if you will. Because we're out of our minds. We attack, we defend, we argue, we debate, we make our points and feelings known. And we have this organization that has the backing and support of such an incredible fan base. Deranged, sick in the head a little bit, yes, but passionate and amazing and incredible fan base. And we have this organization with all that support that just can't seem to do a damn thing right, no matter what it is. And we sometimes we justify to try to get excited. Sometimes we legitimately have some reasons to be excited. But a lot of the time, we sadly walk limp out of a season, dejected, angry, disappointed. And we got to like lick our wounds and watch other teams get the glory. Usually some sort of painful mechanism to hurt Jets specifically. Like last year, McCall Hardman, who's done by and large very, very little for the Chiefs since we traded him. And he catches the game-winning Super Bowl touchdown. You know what I mean? It's like there's like a weird thing going on. So we're this anomaly of an organization. Crazy fans, passionate organization that just can't seem to get it together. No matter who we bring, names, faces, scenarios, they come and go and they change, but the story remains the same. Now here we are, though. We had an opportunity last year, and let me to rewind just a smidgen. I watched this morning. I forget who it was. Forgive me for whoever you are. You know what? Maybe it was Dylan Terriman, who was on the Thursday Thick of It last Thursday. Great appearance from Dylan from Jetnation Radio. But I believe it was Dylan who posted it. Just a moment in time of the Aaron Rodgers entrance into MetLife Stadium with the American flag. And I've seen it 1,000 times, but I engaged with it again for the first time in a long time because it's too painful. And that moment with Thunderstruck, thunder, all that going on, and the lights are down, and all the twinkling wristbands, the little green flickers as the stars, and just the potency of that moment, September 11th, running onto the Monday Night Football field with the American flag, Aaron mother effing Rodgers with that crowd, home field, thick, positive energy. It's the idea that just mere moments after that, everything would fall into the cracks. It's like an impossible story, but nonetheless, we endured it. So going into this offseason, look, we still mustered 7 wins. We still mustered a top 3 defense. We had some shining stars, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jeremy Ruckert's coming into his own little bit. Tyler Conklin looks like the real deal as a tight end 1. Tippmann, right? AVT if he could stay healthy. But Tippmann, second round pick last year looks like a find. And so we have these pieces. And now we go into the offseason, we do some good things. All right, we had a pretty solid offseason. When we were going into free agency, we all had our lists. We had guys, Tyron Smith. We had, Tyler Boyd. And I'm thinking of my own list, right? I had guys like Javon Kinlaw, Tyron Smith. People were talking about trading for a Jerry Jeudy or a Keenan Allen or a Devontae Adams or a T. Higgins, right? All Mike Evans before he got franchised. We're talking about all these guys. And then now here we are. And you look back a little bit. And holy macaroni, granted there are injury concerns, but just let's put that aside. Tyron Smith, I think for the most part was considered offensive tackle 1 in this free agent class. Yes, you had Jonah Williams and you had other guys, but without the injury piece, he's clearly tight end, offensive tackle 1. But even with it, he was pretty much the golden goose of this offensive tackle free agent class. Now, it was lessened somewhat because of the strength of the offensive tackle class in this year's draft, right? We know this. But we come away with Tyron Smith. We come away with a guard and Jonathan Simpson. We come away with a trade for Morgan Moses, who we like a bunch. He was on the Jets a couple of years ago at right tackle. We end up signing Mike Williams in Taylor Hamgate, right? Sandwich Gate. We do that whole thing. And we get guys like Javon Kinlaw, former first-round pick. Leki Fotu, former fourth-round pick. Solid guys for our defensive line rotation. And then we pull out a trade for Hassan Reddick. Yes, we lose guys like Bryce Huff, Bryce Hall, Jordan Whitehead, but Chuck Clark's coming back. We re-signed Chuck Clark. Re-signed tight end 3, Kenny Yeboah. So there's a lot of those types of moves. But when you look at this offseason, it's been so solid, the free agent period, that we go into the draft with reorganized lists of needs. It was really, I'd say 9 out of 10 Jets fans were like, tackle. The only argument we had was trade up for Alt. Is it Fashanu, Fwanga, Fatanu's versatile. We had Latham. He's a right tackle. I don't like Latham, but that was our arguments. And then you had the wide receiver conversation, which is fair and which is real because that's another need on the team. We bring in Mike Williams. You bring in 2 offensive tackles. You have Carter Warren, former fourth-round pick. You have Max Mitchell, former fourth-round pick. These developmental guys on the roster already. You got AVT. You have Joe Tippmann. You bring in John. So it's like, wait a second. So does that now create a scenario where offensive tackle would be the wrong choice at 10? And now we move to wide receiver, but we brought in Mike Williams. That's a 1-2 punch like we haven't had since Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker were here. So where are we? We have some flexibility, but so there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of mud. You got the Brock Bowers debate. But we got 3 tight ends. Maybe not Brock Bowers level tight ends. That's all right. That's an arguable point. But we have a strong tight end room in Conklin, Ruckert, and Yeboah, and you still have perfect 10 Raz score Kuntz floating around the back end. Right, so we have a tight end room that could say, it'd be nice to add a player, but is that a need? Is that something 10th overall pick? Can you trade back? Can you trade up? MHJ, Malik Neighbors up there, Joe Alt, those kinds of names are more than likely going to be gone by the time the 10th pick rolls around. Now, you never know. There are so many years where guys you thought were not making out of the top 5 make it into the top 15th pick. Look at Justin Fields. He was widely considered by many estimations the number 2 quarterback in that draft. He ended up being the 4th quarterback taken in that draft. So you just don't know with the draft. You don't know what boards look like. You don't know what's smoke, what's real. So it's time to settle this down and take a look. An honest and as best we can objective look. Yes, we have our feelings and all that. I have mine, you have yours. There's no debating it. But to try to pull back and be objective and say, what's the real best move for this team? And in order to do that, we're going to have to just look. This is a time to look at facts and pull my feelings. Yeah, but like that stuff. So that's what I plan to do today. There's very little news, right? We talked about Reddick. We talked about Stephon Diggs getting traded to the Texans from the Buffalo Bills. Free agent number 8 for them. They lost guys like Jordan Poyer, Floyd, Dotson, Morse. They lost all kinds of guys after losing guys like White last year. And so there is a serious over there. But we've talked about it ad nauseum. So Malachi Corley's coming to town. It's a lot of guys' favorite. Third-ish, late second, third round pick. We could trade up a little bit. He's definitely reachable for the Jets, a guy like Malachi Corley. If we go tackle in the first. So, you know what I mean? We got our top 30s, things like that going on, but just not we got the big... I was going to say gender reveal. We got the big gender reveal on April 15th on tax day. We have the uniform reveal. What will it be? I can't imagine what it'll be. What do you think the uniforms are going to look like? Now, last time we had no idea. We had no idea what they were going to look like. And when they came out, they did the whole thing where the players didn't get to see them until they unveiled them and we saw their natural reaction. I still remember Jamal Adams. I still remember it because Jamal Adams has a real hard time pretending to be anything that he's not. His feelings are out on his sleeve, And he opens the box and the green light shines up and he goes, oh, oh yeah, that's tight. Trying his hardest to be praised. Looked like shit. That's what it looked like. It was terrible. Nobody loved it. A few people said, I think it's good. But overall, I think by and large, especially with our history of uniforms, we're not a flashy org. Can we just say that? We're not. We're just not. We're more of a classic. Even, so we had the 68 uniforms, right? The Namath. And Klecko wore that, and while Klecko was here, we changed over to the 80s, 90s Jets, which is the legacy uniforms. And then we switched back, but changed it a little bit when Parcells came. He coached us 1 year in 97 with the 90s uniforms, and then he switched it back to the 68 uniforms. And we wore that until Chris Johnson got a hair up his ass and changed the whole thing and hired Adam Gase and all the stuff he did. What a good era. So this is good because the uniform thing is not just changing to the legacy uniforms, which obviously that's what it's going to be. I still hold out. I have a 1% hope that the helmet will be white and the logo will be green. That's my prime uniform example. That's what I would love it. That would be the best. The 2 best coaches we've ever had said the same thing. The white helmet helps the quarterback on the green field. Yet we don't do it. I don't know. Weeb said it. Parcells said it. I don't know. We just don't want to listen to those guys. Shut up, old man. That's how we are. It's a new day. We're going to go green on green, baby. Why not? Why not just add that little smidgen of difficulty for our quarterbacks? I don't know. Maybe the white uniforms. That's why I like the all whites. I don't know. So I still have just a smidgen of hope, just a touch of hope that the helmet will be white and the logo, but I know it's not. I never get what I want. The Jets, if the Jets have taught me anything throughout my 42 years of being a Jets fan, it's that good enough is what you get. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, I didn't get that, but this is good. That's what I do. It's not the guy I wanted, but it's the position. It's not all right. It was not the position I wanted, but he's good. Like those kinds of things. That's the Jets for me. It's taught me very valuable lessons. So this will be another one. I want the white helmet so bad. I'm totally on board with the logo from that era. Love it. Think it's the best logo we've had as far as our word mark. But man, oh man, that white helmet is a thing to behold. And I think just the meshing would be gorgeous. I just don't think it's going to happen. That said, it'll be the official nail in the coffin for the Chris Johnson, Adam Gase era. That whole thing. Just put it in the box, put it in the ground. We should all, as Jets fans, get one scoop of dirt and throw it on top of that coffin with that whole era in it. So that'll be fun. But other than that, it's time to take a step back and look at what our situation really is from an objective standpoint as best we can. And for that, let's get into the intelligent gripe. All right. So here we are. We're going to take a look at our team as it stands today. Now, Brian Baldinger this week, who's, he does some good Jet stuff, but he's an analyst for NFL Network, and he made a boast that the Jets have the best defense in the AFC East. Now, he added the death knell on paper, right? I hate it, but he's right, I think. With everything going on in the AFC East, you look at the Jets, we have the best defense in the AFC East. The truth is we've had the best defense in the AFC East for the last number of years. But now, keeping the unit together in the system and adding guys like a Kinlaw, Chuck Clark, Leaky Fotu, Hassan Reddick, to that core group, C.J. Mosley, Quinnen Williams, Quincy Williams, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, J.J., Michael Carter II, and so forth. Adding those players to that group is really something else, right? So let's take a look at our defense. Now, it should be the number one defense in the He also said that arguably the best defense in the NFL. Okay, and I think that's also a valid point. Our defense is stacked. And you look at this. Look at the front line. We got JJ up here, first-round pick. You got Kinlaw, first-round pick. You got Quinnen, first-round pick. Top 3 pick. Hassan Reddick, first-round pick, right? And you go behind him, you got C.J. Mosley, first-round pick. Quincy's not a first-round pick. I think he was a third or fourth-round pick, but he was on the scrap heap. He was a waiver wire pickup from Joe Douglas. And I'll credit Robert Saleh, Ulbricht, and the gang for developing Quincy, quite frankly. When we ask for development, this is exactly what it was. He was a guy that was released on waivers, and we picked him up, and he's a all-pro level linebacker. So that you got to give that to the coaching staff. So that's going on here. And you look behind them. You got Sauce Gardner, first-round pick, right? So it's like, and you got Tony Adams. I mean, he's an undrafted free agent. So there's that. You got to sprinkle some of that. DJ Reed is not a first-round pick. Michael Carter II was a fifth-round pick. So some sprinkles, Jamie and Sherwood behind him. With that, I mean, look, there are 6 first-round picks, man. 4, 5, 6 first-round picks on that defense. So I think they really should be good. If they're not good, then boy, oh boy, did we screw the pooch. And that's not beyond us because we've done that for many years. I mean, how many first-round picks did we use on defense? They weren't all pros or pro bowlers or even second contractors, right? So this is good. Now look behind them, though. You got JFM. We love JFM. Another waiver wire pickup for Joe Douglas. Developed here. Leaky Fotu coming over from the Cardinals as an undrafted as an unrestricted free agent. Rather. Solomon Thomas, another first-round pick. Michael Clemens, fourth-round pick. Sherwood, fourth-round pick. Zaire Barnes, fourth-round pick. I believe Brandon Eccles was a sixth. Yeah, sixth-round pick. See? I know my stuff. I know what I'm talking about for the most part. And that, so, look at that. Now, that's even the back end of that is pretty solid. We don't know what Zaire Barnes is. We know what Eccles is. Again, I preferred Bryce Hall, but the Jets prefer Eccles, and he's done some nice things, so fine. But Michael Clemens, solid. Solomon Thomas, he's kind of had somewhat of a resurgence with us. He's a role player, but he's solid at the job. Had a really good year last year. JFM, again, we love, and Fotu, we'll see. But behind those guys is where it gets a little weird. But you got Bruce Hector, Jalen Holmes, who, some people really like Jalen Holmes. Will McDonald IV, another first-round pick. And he's way back there. He's just where he is right now. But he's going to have his time. He's going to probably play 35 to 40% of the snaps this year, I would say. And, man, his win rate was good. So who knows? Second year going into this thing is exciting guy. Marcelino McCrary Ball. I don't even know what the hell that is. Is that a drink? I'll have a Marcelino McCrary Ball, please. No problem, sir. Coming right up. That's what it's. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know anything about that guy. Chaz Surratt, who is a personal favorite, and we know a personal favorite of Robert Saleh. But then you got some guys over here. Isaiah Oliver, who we traded for, special teams, nickelback, backup, and all that jazz. So the defense is set. The defense is pretty stacked. But now here we are. We're talking about what do we need on defense. Well, so if you look at it objectively, we're deep at most positions, right? Jermaine Johnson, JFM. Kinlaw, Leaky Fotu. Quinn Williams, Solomon Thomas. Hassan Reddick, Michael Clements, and Will McDonald. Quincy Williams, Jamian Sherwood. CJ Mosley. Actually, Jamian Sherwood's there too. He'll probably be the first guy up if CJ Mosley goes down, but they have Zaire Barnes there. He's a draft pick last year, and let's see if they could develop. They've been developing. They developed Quincy. Why not? Let's see. Brandon Eccles behind Sauce Gardner. Again, we like it. You got Isaiah Tyler Oliver off of behind Michael Carter. And Jarek Bernard Converse, a draft pick last year, cornerback converted to safety in the same way as Jason Pinnock, who's now starting free safety for the New York Giants. There's really one hole here, right? You see it. I know you see it. Look right at it. Look. You see the hole? So when we talk about, but Chris Jenkins, I hear you, right? I hear you. When you're in the third round, and if Chris Jenkins is sitting there, or McKinley Jackson, or Gabe Hall, or any of these guys you like, if they're there, you're going to be tempted. But if we're looking at it objectively. Now, if you're talking about we really don't like Michael Clemens, and you want, or something like that, okay, you want to upgrade, and you see a viable opportunity to do such a thing, fine. It's in the discussion, but the true need on this defense, again, you don't want to reach for it. It's safety. That's it. That's what we got. And with guys like Tony Adams, who looks good, but I don't think he's nailed it down. He's our penciled in starter, and he's done some nice things, but I wouldn't dare tell you that there's no way to upgrade that position if you don't. So free safety is kind of weak, if you will. The starter's there. It's fine. But it's on the weak side, especially compared to the rest of the defense. And you got Chuck Clark, who, hey, Iron Man up until he came to the Jets. But so far in our experience, he didn't do a damn thing. So we don't know what he is. We believe he can add that sure tackling element, playing up near the box that we were missing last year. If he plays, great. Last year was an anomaly, fine. It was the jerseys, whatever it was. But still, you got Chuck Clark, who we lost for the entire season last year and is a year older. Tony Adams, undrafted free agent, looks good, but not a star. You got Jarek Bernard Converse. We don't know anything about him. So really what you're looking at is a strong and free safety section of our defense that is a huge question mark. In our mock drafts, nobody wants to play around with, say, Joe Douglas doesn't value safety. Maybe he doesn't value it the same way he does edge or cornerback. That's fine, but he shouldn't. Edge is a premium position. Cornerback is a premium position. Safety, not so much. So you should have that value. Your team, like a Mike McCagnon, first and second round picks on safety. That's everybody went, what the hell's going on? Because it's the two premium picks on a non-premium position, right? Now, if it's your only need, sure. But by and large, Joe Douglas is the way he's handled safety has been pretty good. You get not the top guy, but one of the top free agents for the position. And he signed Jordan Whitehead. He used a third-round pick on Ashton Davis. And he brings in guys here and there. It's just kind of what we've been doing. You trade for Chuck Clark to solidify the tackling. He went down, but I think it's time. Everything else has been addressed. You only have so many spots. If we're objectively looking at this, the true weakness of this defense is safety. Say it anyway. Yeah, but I hear you. I do. But safety is the last hole on this defense, everybody. It's the mathematics of the situation, if you will. But that's when you look at our depth chart, where it is, and who knows, maybe they go out and they sign a free agent. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't think we'll see, could happen, but I don't think we'll see a free agent safety brought in before the draft. I don't think that's going to happen. We're getting there now. We're starting to inch closer to the draft. It's getting to that time. It's like, all right, our focus just goes to our draft board and our analytics and all that sort of stuff, our assessments, our valuations of these guys. That's really where the primary objective. It could happen, but I would be surprised. So that's our defense. Now let's take a look at our offense. What do you think of that? You guys want to look at the offense real quick? It's different than the defense. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know if you were aware. I don't know where you've been. If you were sleeping, if you're taking a little nappy poo, if you're on vacation or something, the defense and the offense are completely different experiences for the New York Jets over the last bunch of years, including just this last one. So let's take a look at what we got here. Now, the list starts with wide receiver. Now, you have Mike Williams, who, if he's healthy, do we have to even have a question, a debate about what he can bring to the offense? I don't think we do. The big question is he going to be healthy? He missed the entirety of last season. He missed 18 games the last 2 years. So it's a concern. And he's not going to be ready for training camp. They're hoping that he'll be ready for this season. So I think we'll see a lot of Mike Williams this year, and I'm not necessarily what I would say worried, but I'm definitely not looking at this as I don't have to address this. Not doing it. So you got Mike Williams, you got Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is a stud, and I think with Aaron Rodgers, just like we were supposed to see last year, I think Garrett Wilson as the focal point of the offense alongside of Breece Hall, but in the passing game, it's going to be the Garrett Wilson show, I think. That's what we would have seen last year. I think Garrett Wilson is going to be all-pro level. So stacked at the wide receiver position if they're healthy as far as, starters in 11 personnel, right? So then you got Xavier Gibson. Now, a lot of people like him. I like him well enough, but don't tell me he can't be upgraded over. He's an undrafted free agent with tons of fumbles and mistakes last year, had his moments for sure, and talented undeniably. But don't tell me he can't be upgraded. So our starters, you got really one as a sure thing at the wide receiver position. And it's going to be key. And it's been our scourge for a long time. Just remember, a couple of years ago, we were looking at, Dante Moncrief and Hogan and all these guys. You know what I mean? Brashad Perryman running around and Robbie Anderson, as like kind of the guy. And it's time to stop that. It's time to not be that team, right? Last year, we had on our 53, 3 undrafted free agent wide receivers, 2 of who were rookies. 1 was a second-year player. 3 of our 5 wide receivers were undrafted free agents. That's not good, everybody. We cannot do that again. The experiment, it was all touching on Hard Knocks, made them cry. Oh, I can't believe it. You brought me in here, made me think you were cutting me. Whatever it was. It's beautiful. It's warm. It's snuggly. It's over. Can't do it again. So look at that. Now let's look right behind them. Let's stay on the wide receiver. You got Jason Brownlee, one of the guys I was just talking about on Hard Knocks, one of the undrafted free agent rookies last year. What did he do for us? Very little. Now, is it his fault? I don't know. Quarterback play, whatever. I'm not saying cut him, but is he a guy that you think you can't upgrade over? I don't think so. Alan Lazard's going to be here, so we don't have to talk about him. But the one thing I will say is we know what he looks like with Aaron Rodgers, and we know what he looks like without. Thank God Aaron Rodgers is coming back, and hopefully he's healthy, because that's the Alan Lazard story, man. With Aaron Rodgers, he's pretty damn good, and he can be very beneficial in the run game. Without him, not so much. Malik Taylor, who I actually like as like a bottom end kind of guy, the wide receiver 5'6". I don't hate Malik Taylor there. Now Gibson's ahead of him. So that is what it is. We might end up losing him. And then you got Irvin Charles, who was the other undrafted free agent, the second-year guy. And then you got Lance McCutcheon, everybody. What do you think? Lance McCutcheon, like the other guy. What was his name? This is a guy, Marcelino McCrary Ball. And maybe you guys know who these guys are. I don't know who they are. I'll be honest. I don't know who Lance McCutcheon is. We just signed him in January, so he's not a Jet yet, but he is. He's on our thing. So there's our wide receivers. You don't think that could be labeled as one of our needs? I think it absolutely is. It's a definite need because, again, we've failed at the position for a long time outside of Garrett Wilson, and we are an injury-prone organization. So you got to, and we have an injured guy at wide receiver too. So it just makes no sense to overlook the wide receiver position. Need. So we got safety on defense as a need, wide receiver as a need on offense. I don't think it's really up for debate. Best case scenario would have to take place, and all those guys would have to take a leap, like Xavier Gibson, Brownlee, Lazard, Irvin Charles. Irvin Charles got his roster spot on special teams, though. He's very, very good, and I like him there. Who else? So let's talk about offensive line. Let's take a look. We added Tyron Smith. Again, creme de la creme of the free agent tackles, all-pro, Hall of Fame level guy. We'll see if he could stay healthy, how long we're going to have him for, but I'm very happy with that for our starting day left tackle. John Simpson, underrated. After we all dug into him after we signed him. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe not a very ballyhooed signing, but I think very, very solid and an upgrade over Lake and Tomlinson at this point in their careers. Joe Tippmann, who I mentioned earlier, I think he's going to progress nicely. Played some guard, played some center. He's settling in at center, which was his drafted position. So I like him there. AVT, I mean, the only issue with AVT is whether he can stay healthy. Looks like they're planning to keep him at one friggin' position, which I think would help him. If that guy stays healthy, there's no question there. Morgan Moses, shoulder surgery. But outside of that, I mean, I'm not too worried about Morgan Moses. He played through the entire season last year with a torn pec. He's that kind of guy, rock solid. So our front five looks good. How long do we have them? We'll see. The injury, again, not too concerned about Morgan Moses, but it's there. I'm hopeful about AVT, but it's there. We lost him the last 2 years. Tippmann, we lost for a few games last year. And then you got Tyron Smith, who averages 8 games a year, had 13 last year. So we'll see. Right? So let's see what's behind them real quick. Carter Warren, Xavier Newman, sure played some hero ball last year, but can you upgrade? Can you upgrade over? I think you can. Wes Schweitzer, I'm not a Wes Schweitzer guy. I know he's under contract, but it's not such a bad contract that if you can upgrade, you can get him out of here. Hey, man, he's there. It's fine. He's depth. Hopefully you don't need him. But if you do, I don't like him. Jake Hansen, they re-signed. He looks like a guy they want to develop. Fine. Max Mitchell, I still like Max Mitchell. I still got hope for Max Mitchell, but he struggled. He struggled mightily. He looked hopeful his rookie season, prematurely starting him. But he had a tough year after the blood clots and all that, so we'll see. So is offensive tackle a need? Well, objectively, I would say not the same need as wide receiver for right now. I would say that. But I can't say that it's not a need because, again, Tyron Smith with his level of games missed. Carter Warren's a question mark. Joe Tippmann missed games. AVT missed games, missed seasons. Morgan Moses, shoulder surgery. Max Mitchell, question mark. Wes Schweitzer sucks. Jake Hansen, question mark. Xavier Newman can absolutely be upgraded over. So I think offensive line it's a need. I'm going to say it's a need. Again, I might look at wide receiver as a more pressing need right now, but offensive line is also still a need, even though we did some really, really nice work in free agency. Now let's look. Tight end. We got Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert, Kenny Yeboah, and again, Zach Kuntz is a perfect specimen for tight end. Too bad he sucks at stuff. Who knows? They're developing him, right? He's got everything you want in a tight end. They're betting on the athleticism and the size and all that. Fine. But the top three, I think that's a perfect tight end room. Can it be upgraded over? Sure. I think you can. I mean, I don't think anybody on that list is Kelsey or Kittle or somebody like that. But I think that's about as strong as a tight end room as we've had. Would I label it as a need? I would not. It's clear to me. Even Kenny Yeboah, you guys know I'm a Kenny Yeboah homer, but I think for good reason. I never thought he was going to be, the tight end one. I never thought that. I think he's going to be a very, very good player to have on the team and can have his moments and all that. And I think he's that. So, but he's tight end 3. Quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Tyrod Taylor, and Zach Wilson. We don't know what the hell's going to happen with Zach Wilson, but Aaron Rodgers, dude, our eggs are in the Aaron Rodgers basket, but at least we have Tyrod Taylor as the backup. Not the guy I would have chosen. I like Tyrod Taylor's skill set plenty. I like who he is plenty. I do not like his injury history. And if he has to play, let's say 5 games, I don't think we're going to see him for 5 games. It's just kind of, I struggle with that one. But that said, I like that they addressed it, and I do like him for 1 game if he needs to come in or finish a game or something like that, a couple drives. I love that it's Tyrod Taylor as opposed to Zach Epu or Tim Boyle or Simeon or whoever. So quarterback's not a need. You can justify taking one in the 4th round or something like that. Absolutely, especially if we get rid of Zach. But yeah, even if we keep Zach, quite frankly, but I don't think you can say quarterback is a need. I know there's still a contingent of people saying the Jets should just grab a quarterback at 10 for the future. I don't know, man. I think your eggs are in the basket. We got to make sure that basket makes it to market, dude. That's it. You can't go, yeah, but next time I go to market, I'm going to make sure no, just get these eggs to the basket, damn it. That's first. We'll figure out what's next. So that's how I see it. Stop dancing around. Will McDonald was a foolish pick last year. I'm rooting for him. We love him. All this stuff. Dumb pick. And I'm not going to change my tune on that one. So we can't do it again. Running back, Breece Hall, stud. Might just be the best running back we've had since Curtis Martin. Loved Chris Ivory, right? Loved Forte before he came to the Jets, of course. Obviously Frank Gore, big names. They were at the end of their careers here. Breece Hall is a stud, probably the best running back since Curtis Martin. But look behind him. We got Izzy, last year's draft pick. He's got skills and everything, but didn't translate to any real impact on the field last year, and there was openings for it. Nothing really there yet. We'll see how he develops. But then we got Xavier Valade as I don't know, I didn't do anything on that guy. So I'm going to say running back is a need. Now, is it a 1st round, 2nd round need? No, but is it a need? Absolutely. We need to bring in a running back. Even if they just I would love an Audric Estime or a Braylon Allen or somebody like that. Or if you're going to wait till later, Carson Steele. Carson Steele will be a great running back 3, probably take over running back 2 at some point. But yeah, so what are our needs? Wide receiver, offensive line, safety. Those are the needs. Now, is that all we're going to see in the draft? Probably not. You start going into BPA, and we got a lot of back-end day 3 picks. But that's what it looks like, everybody. Safety on defense is our only need. Wide receiver as need number 1, and offensive tackle with need number 2. So does that mean that I'm taking a wide receiver in round 1? It very much could be that. Now, the Brock Bowers thing, he's not going to be a tight end. He's a weapon. Okay, fine. If that's your choice for weapon to kind of fill that hole at wide receiver and you're just going to get creative, all right, if that's what they're going to do, I'm fine with that. As far as the position itself, there's no way in hell I'm taking a tight end at 10 with this room. Again, if I have a good plan to fold him in and use him as like that offensive weapon, then I'm going to have a void at wide receiver a little bit, and I'm kind of using him as that. Then if that's what they can really do, and that's the plan, I'm fine with it. And tight end's my favorite position on the field. With this tight end room, I'm not doing it. So that's where it is. Safety, wide receiver, offensive line as our need. Sneaky needs, cornerback, maybe some defensive tackle depth, all 4th, 5th, 6th round, 7th round pick territory, in my opinion. All of it. All of it. You can get big fatties in the 6th every day of the week. You find developmental guys in that range. They have a flaw or they're injured or whatever it might be, and they slide back there. You can scoop them up every day and develop them yourselves. Our defensive coaches, I think, have an aptitude to be able to develop. So there it is, guys. The New York Jets of 2024, as it stands right now, really only have 3 needs, and we have a whole bunch of draft picks to get it done, starting at pick number 10. Safety, offensive line, wide receiver, and that's what it looks like. With that all said, have at it. Let me know where your feelings are, what you think. I mean, do you see it differently? That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me from an objective standpoint. And by the way, my feelings, I'm all offensive tackle in the first round. But my need objectively is wide receiver. So who knows, right? Who knows? But the objective outlook on the team, safety, wide receiver, offensive tackle. Let me know what you think in the comments. Guys, don't forget about our draft party. The Talking Jets are coming to town. But even if you can't come to Long Island to hang out with us, on the date of the first round at the main event and get your 3 hours of open bar and your ticket giveaways and Tailgate Joe and all the stuff that's going to be going on, if you can't do that, we are still doing for the 5th straight year the best damn draft live stream on earth. That's Jet-centric anyway. It's going to be a blast. I hope you will join us. 7 p.m., August or April 25th. With that all said, have a great week, everybody. And as always, scoodly doodly doo.